On this week's show, we're discussing whether or not Kratos, the god of war, will be taking on the Egyptian gods next. Will Forza Horizon be heading to Japan this week? Ubisoft's Black Flag Remake undergoing some massive changes, and a Cyberpunk sequel that might include some online multiplayer. All that and much, much more on this week's GamerGuild Podcast. Good game, everyone, and welcome back to your weekly gaming podcast, the GamerGuild Podcast, where we get together to round up all of the week's video game news for your listening or viewing pleasure right here on youtube.com/GamerGuildTV, and available up there in the digital clouds on your podcast platform of choice. Just search for the GamerGuild TV, and you will find us there every Monday, 8 a.m. when this show goes up for all you wonderful viewers and listeners out there. Your podcast players for the week are myself, Chris, at Arcane Rogue, and I'm joined once again by the man of many pixels, Mr. Richie.
Hi.
Hi. You alright?
Yeah, well, bit hungover, but I'll be fine.
Well, you're hungover, I'm tired, so what a great combination to bring you the news this week. Of course, we do have a great show lined up for you all, but before we do get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring-a-ding-ding that bell so you're kept in the loop with all the great content we do here at the channel, like this very show, like our weekly live streams, like our first looks, retro looks backs, and everything in between. We do have a fantastic merchandise store, which Richie is representing right now if you're interested in some merch. And of course, as I said, join us every single week because we like to play games here on the channel, and that's how we like to start every single show, by talking about what we've been playing in the last 7 days. Richie, I will proverbially throw it over to you to tell us what you've been playing.
So I am one trophy away from getting the platinum in Metal Gear Solid. The problem is, it sucks.
The fear.
I'm stuck at the pain.
The pain.
Like,
do all the boss names describe the emotions you're feeling trying to get this trophy?
I think the pain describes them all. I've got to him, but with fairly low, after the Ocelot battle, with fairly low health. But bear in mind, I have to do this with non-lethal.
Yeah.
In under 5 hours.
Yeah.
On extreme. And it's just like, it's broken. It's a stupid trophy.
Do you have to use like a trank gun on him or something then?
Yeah, I'm not allowed to use lethals. Like, I can to a certain degree, but I can't kill him with a lethal weapon. So I have to wear down the stamina bar instead, which is it just sucks. I've watched a few videos, and some people just seem to do dead easy. I was like, that's just impossible. That's just not working like that for me at all.
Trying to think what else you could even use. Like flash grenades do anything?
I'll use stun grenades. You have to use smoke grenades anyway to get rid of his bees. But I am using. It's not even a case of how do I damage him. It's how do I stop him killing me instantaneously.
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah,
because you can jump in the water to dodge some of his attacks, but then as soon as I climb back out the water, I just get hit. I was like,
do you swim
now I'm dead
away from him, like under and pop up behind him on the other side of that little rock island he sits on?
I've tried that. He just knows where you're at. I don't know. It's just. It feels like one of them where I'm not sure I will get the trophy. I'm going to keep trying, but it's, when you feel like you're banging your head against a wall.
Yeah.
I've been stuck on it for most of the week.
See, I never even, when I saw those type of difficulty trophies, I opted to just not do it. I'll just move on to other things and just enjoy the story for what it is, knowing fine well it was difficult. But credit where credit's due that you're even attempting it.
I feel like I might have made a mistake, but now because I've got every other trophy, it's like, I kind of want it.
The bulk of the work's done. It's just, it's a very prideful one to have as well, Metal Gear.
Yeah.
Solid.
Well, to be perfectly honest, I think it's a bit mean as a trophy's concerned. How a trophy to maybe if you split it up into separate trophies, it's reasonable, but the fact that whole game in under 5 hours. Without killing a single person, without alerting a single person, on extreme difficulties, like that's just nuts.
Yeah, it's a bit crazy.
Yeah. But what have you been playing?
I've been playing. I went back to play a little bit of FIFA, FC. I was on the cusp of potentially buying the new one, but then I went back to one of my old career modes in FC 24, I think it is. And when you start playing, you're like, for 60 quid, am I going to get anything actually out of the new game other than an updated roster? Like, really, if I'm honest with myself. And I looked at my PlayStation clock time, has it marked down. I was like, I've put 170 hours into FC 24, so I'm getting my money's worth out of it by far. But yeah, kind of just between games waiting for Ghost of Yotei next week, I thought,
that's why it's Ghost of Yotei is the reason why I'm just going to persevere with Metal Gear Solid.
Yeah, you've got like a week and a half to basically chip away at this, and then if not, you can put it to a side and take a breather maybe, and experience something new. So yeah, I've just kind of like been back to some football. Obviously, the Premiership returned this weekend, so watched a couple of games. So yeah, not massively playing like in deep with anything. I have started Lego Voyagers with
nice.
my wife. I noticed that popped, got loads of good reviews, which we'll talk about in the show later on. Earlier this week, I had £5 cash value left on my PlayStation Stars dashboard, which popped up. So I got a £5 voucher from the points. I think it was 10% off because I've got PlayStation Plus, and the game's only like $17.99 anyway. So collectively, I think I got it all for like just over a tenner maybe. And the reviews started dropping. The reviews basically said like, yeah, whimsical fun, multiplayer game, can be completed quite quickly. And it looked really good. And I thought, I've not played anything since Split Fiction with my wife. So I suggested it, showed her the trailer. Who doesn't like Lego? So I was like, yeah, let's have a little brick and a bash at it. But I'll talk about it more in the review section. But no, I've just been accruing and playing little trinket things. So you can't really see it on camera. But I've got myself another PSP, as I do.
Oh, nice. I've got something new as well, actually.
Okay, you go grab yours. I'll go get mine. Stay there, audio listeners.
So, as an early birthday present,
I'm not back yet. I'm not back yet. Sorry, audio listeners. It's the most random break you've ever had in a show ever.
Yeah, but we both left to get stuff.
Yeah.
But as an early birthday present, I got these.
Ah, the little coaster things.
Yeah, but they're on the shelf behind me. So I've got Pokemon Red, Blue, Yellow, and Green.
Enhance. Yeah. It won't enhance for video listeners, viewers. Yeah, cool. I've seen them loads of times, but I don't have anywhere that I need more coasters. I've basically, when like you max out in coasters in your life, and unless they get damaged or broken, I don't really see a need to.
Well, I'm not really using them as coasters. They are coasters, but I'm using them more as just things on the shelf. But it was one of them that apparently saw them on Instagram or something, decided there would be a perfect daft little gift for me, and then couldn't wait for my birthday to give me them.
Oh well, that's nice.
They got the box cover on the back and the back of the box on the back.
Oh, that's cool. Nice little unnecessary addition, but adds a lot to it.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have to do that. Didn't have to go that extra bit beyond. I won someone out in a in a PSP duel on eBay purely because I did have. There's Richie in there. There you go. Look, you can see it in there. I did have one of these, but I lent it to my brother many years ago to take to Germany for a trip with my cousin, my uncle, my auntie, and it did not return, sadly. So as part of my collection, which I've kept and maintained and managed over the years, there was one big void that it stung like hell at the time. Richie, can you imagine?
Yeah, I can imagine.
Just I didn't even think anything of it at the time because I'd moved on. I don't think I had a Vita at the time, but I wasn't playing it as much because it was a good couple of years old. But it was portable, so hey, take it on holiday. And it was only ages after I thought, I haven't seen this in weeks, months, maybe. Ask where it is. Oh, I put it. My brother's response. Oh, I put it back in your room. Not in my room. Emptied. Literally went through everything to find it. Knowing fine well it was in one of them big black zip-up carry bags with the game slots and everything. Because it takes UMD discs, so they're not tiny. Couldn't find it. And then I just we had to come to the conclusion. It was he's left it in Germany, or he's had it stolen or something. It's in the hotel room still. So yeah, for years I went without one, and I replaced it with the blue one or the red one. Sorry, up there. But the red one's the 1003 version. It's not the OG black in box. So part of my trying to collect all the boxes as well, I went on eBay and I got one that was in box with all the original trinkets. So yes, I got a black 1001 PSP, and I've been playing Metal Gear Solid Peace Walker.
Very nice.
On it, just chipping away at some little missions. They're so good, the PSP games. The graphics, because of the small screen,
You don't
not
notice.
really, yeah, like they're still pixelated. It's very like PlayStation 2 era graphics, but in a handheld, it works. The form factors.
Well, that's it. It's like you don't need 4K resolution when you on a screen this big. It just
you don't need it at all. It is, isn't it? It's just nice. Yeah, had that though. That's the UMD in the back. Nice PSP. So yeah, so I got that one, and then amongst other little trinkets that I feel like I'm worried now. I've got my shelf back up. My brain's like, what can I get to put on it?
I don't think there's any space on it.
No, there is the space. The Nintendo section out here, there's like a whole gap that can be rearranged and moved. And quite frankly, I'll sacrifice some books. Yeah, they don't need to go. One addition I did get though, which you'll enjoy. Seemingly the PSP.
Are you playing FIFA?
It came with, of all random things, which I've never owned, Tiger Woods PGA Golf from 2006. Yeah. That's what it came with. So whoever owned this previously was a big golf fan. Right, turn that off, if I remember how to turn it off. Right, there you go. Be quiet. Yeah, you'll like this one.
Oh, Final Fantasy VIII.
Because I never had it. And I've heard it.
I've never played it.
Wow, there you go. So saw that and I was I like it.
You bought a PSP and it came with Final Fantasy VIII.
No, I just accrued that as part of like my random looking for good deals out there that like quite an offer. Starting to like make sure I've got like one of everything from my list. So one of the ones which has shocked me, Castlevania Symphony of the Night on PS1, it's like £120 to get that second hand. It's rare as shit.
Yeah, I think it's very much a very well acclaimed game as well.
Yeah, it's one of them where everyone made the jump to 3D and they stuck with 2D. Yeah. And it just happened to be one of the best Metroidvania games in existence ever. And now it's like a rare, precious commodity. So I'll keep my eyes out. But yeah, it's a bit pricey and steep right now. So yeah, I'll get into Lego Voyagers stuff in the main show. But we can't get into that, Rich, until you introduce us to the
graciously gathered GamerGuild Gazette, a.k.a. The News.
The News. And as always, the news is brought to you by our wonderful guild heroes, the fantastic members of the channel who support us that extra little bit further, just like you can from as little as 99p. You can get early access to this very show. You get 6 badges next to your name in the live chat. And any videos myself and Richie post live early, you get access to them too. But we do thank and appreciate you for all of your support over the years as we come up on our 6th year anniversary at the end of the month. Kicking things off, story number 1. Kratos, that big bastard from Greece, is going to Egypt next, it would seem. Rumour reported from Push Square. Kratos to wield the Egyptian sword in God of War's next main entry. We know God of War has a habit of introducing new iconic weaponry. We've had the Blades of Chaos. We've had the Norse duology now with Ragnarok and the 2018 version. And we got the amazing Leviathan axe. But yeah, Tom Henderson from Insider Gaming has reported that the main next entry will introduce an Egyptian sword as Kratos' weapon of choice. Doesn't go into much detail on saying that it'll be used like similar to the one seen in Prince of Persia, which is likely to be a scimitar. Either way, his comments only reinforce the notion that we've had rumours for quite some time that the God of War games are going to explore Egyptian mythology. We are also going to get a rumoured Metroidvania-style 2D side-scrolling game, which is going to reflect back on the Greek storyline from yesteryear in the series, but as we kind of creep towards a rumoured state of play and the end of 2025, Ragnarok is firmly in our rearview mirror. We know Cory Barlog, the director of the 2018 God of War, has been working on a second game at Santa Monica. Supposedly not a God of War game, but it's been a while since Ragnarok. There was rumours of a smaller spin-off title, which I feel like now has kind of been knocked on the head. I feel like too much time has passed now to add that. We did get the DLC, didn't we, with that, which added like the roguelike edition mode.
Yeah,
thing. So it's had stuff added to it.
It felt like there could have been a smaller game, like spun off it to kind of finish some of the Norse pantheon stuff. Probably maybe away from Kratos himself, but that clearly hasn't materialized.
Yeah, I don't know if there was like when they maybe looked into research if there was a pardon me, demand for that. Yeah. Like I enjoyed. So. I feel like I enjoyed Kratos and some of the other characters, but if push came to shove, would I want another game with Kratos or Atreus, for example? I would be Kratos all day, every day.
Yeah, I do feel like a side game, a smaller game where you play as Atreus as the main character could have done well, but now I do feel it's probably a bit too far out.
Yeah,
It would have had to be at least have announced by now, I think, if that was going to work. They could
yeah.
still revisit at some point, but seemingly they're focused on the Metroidvania and potentially this Egyptian one.
Now, as far as an Egyptian God of War goes, for me, that makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
Egyptian mythology has a vast pantheon of gods to select from, in all the way from like the lame ones right up to the most epic. And as far as the setting goes, it would definitely mix it up from the snow and wind that we've experienced with the last two games. And yeah, they could just delve into everything. Like it's absolutely an open palette, and ultimately he takes down the gods in that area, and now he's kind of cleaned up in the Scandinavian area. Why not? It's kind of, I do hope we work our way back to the Greek pantheon at some point.
Well, yeah, that'd be good. I think that might be a way off, to be honest, but especially if they're going to Egypt next. But before God of War came back, Egypt was considered, because he is like concept art for like an Egyptian version, which shows like Kratos with a young Atreus, but in what is a very, very clearly Egyptian setting. So they've probably had the idea for this game for quite a while, but then decided it probably made more sense with the story they want to tell in the Norse pantheon.
Absolutely.
Right. Yeah. And now it's time. Now it's probably time to go to Egypt and see what there is. It's going to be interesting to see how they do it. Are they going to kind of abandon, like, move past everything they've done with God of War and God of War Ragnarok, and just kind of leave all that behind? But what's Kratos' motivation going to be?
They steal Atreus.
Yeah.
Something like Atreus is going to do something that's going to anger the gods, and Kratos is like, I got to go defend my son from his antics.
I feel like it's going to be that kind of thing where he's probably going to be searching for Atreus.
Yeah.
And that's what lands him in the Greek pantheon.
Yeah, take Mimir with you, because that's, you've got that's like some tie over like secondary character. But yeah, I do think it could work very, very well. I've got no issue with them doing that. I think it could just play out really, really interesting and tie in quite nicely. It's the great thing with, I guess, doing mythologies is that they're also detached from modern life, that you can kind of just do with it what you want, really. You can tell any kind of story as long as it's kind of in that realm. And I do think what would be quite interesting is, I think in video games we've actually seen very little of Egyptian mythology, all things said and done. Like, we've had Assassin's Creed Origins, and even Assassin's Creed Origins, it only went into the kind of the god and the afterlife thing in the DLC, when you went through the big Pharaoh King's tomb or something it was, and that took you into like the Field of Reeds, and you saw like the giant Anubis warriors and the scorpions and stuff. But that was just DLC. Whereas actually, if the whole world, you know, in like Valhalla and stuff, where you go through the realms and you end up in this mythical like world between worlds thing to Asgard and whatnot, and the nine, the Rainbow Bridge kind of stuff. I think having that, like, going through the doors of essentially hell into like Egyptian mythology, we saw it a little bit with, I think, Moon Knight in the Marvel Disney Plus show, where they were like going between different realms into like shadow and stuff, but it's just not really been explored. So I think, take the formula of God of War with Kratos, that works so well. Take the Egyptian gods, which are epic in their own right. I'm thinking Age of Mythology style here, the Mummy movies. And just have a crack at it. And I'm there for more God of War, quite frankly. I trust Santa Monica. The last two games have been some of the best games in video game history. So I'm down. I
feel like it's been quite a while now since Ragnarok. So when the next God of War is revealed, it's going to have that same hype moment of like God of War. Was it 2016?
2018 was the last one, I think.
Yeah, just when was the first one that came out?
2018.
Was it 2018?
Sure it was. Yeah, God of War 2018. Yep.
Yeah, but when that game was revealed, it was such a hype moment, because I feel like it's primed to have something like that again. Because at this point, it's been 5 years since Ragnarok.
Wild.
Yeah. And if it is a new Pantheon and a new story,
Well,
I think it's good to go.
We might see something about it soon, because next story up on our list this week is Sony's ending its convention exodus from Tokyo Game Show by bringing a booth. It's fair to say that the last couple of years they've kind of... In fact, I would say Sony and PlayStation began the exodus from game shows. We had lockdown, we had COVID happen, and the world was trying to figure out how we do these showcases, and everyone pivoted to digital. But before all that was done, if you recall, Richie, PlayStation had already started to not show up at some of these things. They were the first one to pull out of E3, and it kind of just had that effect on everyone. Like they were the first large domino, ultimately.
I'd say arguing Nintendo, because Nintendo went to just a direct at E3 for a few years before others started pulling out, but yeah.
They always had a presence, though, still, Nintendo. They always had a booth still, whereas Sony were just like, yeah, we're not going to do either. We're just going to do our own event. And then if you remember, they had PlayStation Experience they used to do every December, where it was like a pure PlayStation fan event, where they did some announcements, they did special treats for fans. And that was fantastic. It was like the event to be at if you're a PlayStation fan through and through. And they did that for a couple of years before just ultimately going, no, it costs too much money. And then COVID hit, and it was like, no, we're definitely not doing it now. But Tokyo Game Show is next week, so next week's show should have a lot of juicy little tidbits information, hopefully some reveals, and quite possibly a state of play, because we've got rumours that's going to be taking place next week. So I would not be surprised. At the time of listening to this, we launched the show on a Monday. Sony like to stealth drop the news on like a Tuesday, Wednesday that it's coming Thursday evening, 10 p.m. BST kind of thing. So keep an eye out for that. Tokyo Game Show gets underway on the 25th, so just a few days. So the state of play, literally going into that, would line up perfectly with the cadence. And I mentioned on last week's show that PlayStation have had a state of play in September for the last 4 or 5 years, I recall. So the cadence is there. But they have confirmed that they are going to Tokyo Game Show. They're going to have a booth, and they're going to be showing off and supporting second-party games in the likes of Battlefield 6, Digimon Time Stranger, Dragon Quest 1-2 HD Remake, Ghost of Yotei will be there, Lumines Arise, Marvel Tokon Fighting Souls, Neo 3, Onimusha Way of the Sword, Phantom Blade Zero, Resident Evil Requiem, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds, and The 7 Deadly Sins Origins, and a couple of other ones spread in. So they are going to be there. They've got special stickers and badges and PlayStation stuff being repped at the event. Richie, state of play on the horizon? Maybe it is a little bit too early for a God of War reveal, but...
A teaser, though. I think a teaser wouldn't be out of line now if it's going to be, say, 2 years out still.
It all depends if they're primed for a big one, really, don't they? I think with Ghost of Yotei coming out next week, I think that'll be the chance to show kind of like one last push for that. But it is that thing, like, looking back, we've had our PS5s for half a decade now. And I think it's safe to say, like, the first party output has been, aside from Insomniac, has been pretty low. And I think there's a lot of stacked rounds in the chamber that at some point they need to start giving us dates and times for these.
I do think it probably is too soon for a God of War, which, by the way, God of War Exodus could be a perfect naming for the next one. Yeah. But I think the reason I think it's too early is if they're going to do a state of play like next week, Ghost of Yotei is going to be your biggie up front. And if they want that one last thing to tease people on, I think that would be Wolverine.
I mean, there are rumors of Wolverine 2.
Yeah. It's... So I feel like you wouldn't want to drop that big God of War tease for the next God of War when you also going to maybe start showing a first real trailer for Wolverine. Yeah. It feels like you wouldn't want these two things to get in the way unless they decide to go, you know what, we are going to go huge with this one.
I'm trying to think when the really good one was. PlayStation Showcase. Because if you remember, they had that absolute banger a couple of years back where they just hit everything after everything. I can't remember when it was, though. Was it like 2021, perhaps, announcements? Yeah. Because it makes you think... Oh, actually, yeah, here we go. I've got an IGN article from 2021. So the God of War Ragnarok officially revealed at this one. Marvel Spider-Man 2 announced with a Venom tease. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake was announced. Marvel's Wolverine announced, made by Insomniac. Project Eve which I guess ended up being Stellar Blade, if I recall. I think that changed names.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, Forspoken, RIP, Uncharted 4 Legacy Collection getting a remaster for PC, Rainbow Six Extraction, Alan Wake Remastered was showed off. What else? Gran Turismo 7 release date revealed. Tchaya, the former Stadia game. Ghostwire Tokyo. Marvel's Guide in the Galaxy gets a new trailer. Deathloop launch trailer. And a bunch of other little things as well. So, not a bad showcase with 4 major, huge games, which we've obviously seen some of them now. But yeah, 2021 was, I feel like, their last showcase, which felt like we're coming out all guns blazing, firing on all cylinders, like we are PlayStation. And I do feel halfway through a generation, all the studios have been quiet behind the scenes. From a Christmas marketing beat as well, as like what better time when Xbox are on their knees, and we'll talk about that in terms of hardware sales later on in the show. Is it the right time, or just swing your big Sony dick around and go like, look what we've got coming from 2026 and beyond. We've got Wolverine, we've got Spider-Man 3, we've got a new God of War. There's a new Uncharted game in the works. Like every big tentpole IP that you are familiar with PlayStation, just show off some kind of teaser. Because like you said, all I need is Kratos walking out in front of a dusty, sandy pyramid in front of the Sphinx or something for you to go, and some epic music in the background for you to pop off and be like, oh my god, it's not coming for 3 years, but shit, I'm excited.
A very slight monologue, probably from a secondary character starting, ending with Christopher Judge just saying a few words, then opening up into like a desert scene with a pyramid getting built in the background or something. Like, there we go, done.
Absolutely.
That's all it needs. Like, literally a minute, if that.
Absolutely. So I'd be absolutely down for that. Imagine if we see it next week and it's not coming. Sorry,
but
there's nothing.
You know what though? It could be a good strategy actually, because PlayStation this generation, they've made a wrong turn. We've talked about before. They made a wrong turn trying to go hard into games as a service. They've repivoted, and it's been quite quiet for the last few years. Again, I've said before, it feels like this generation hasn't really kick-started the way like the PS4 generation has.
No, not at all.
So if they turn around, right, we're going to win, we're going to claw this one back. We're going to launch do a state of a play, and we're just going to go big title after big title after big title, and just really knock it out the park, and just go, yep, this is what you can expect between now and say 2028.
Yeah,
like here's our big titles. We're back. We're working on them. They're coming.
Yeah,
here you go. Like. Double dip with studios as well. Get the next Spider-Man in there and Wolverine.
Yeah, just sing your praises.
Get God of War.
Yeah,
get some intergalactic gameplay footage going on. Whatever Bluepoint's working on.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Is I think we know from an internal standpoint that the likes of Bluepoint and Sony Bend have basically just restarted all over again in the last 6 months. So that's a frustrating one, but there should be enough in the tank for them to really, really showcase. They'll no doubt be able to like sprinkle in like some Helldivers updates and like little things like that. But yeah, ultimately, I think they've got a few things. They've got, is it Saros that was being worked on by the
from Housemarque.
Returnal people. Yeah, so and they've got obviously second party deals. There is nothing to say they haven't been working on behind the scenes to get some partnerships in. I mentioned in that showcase about the likes of Forspoken and such. Albeit it didn't turn out too great. It's like they still had stuff to show up. We had Rise of Ronin, if you remember, last year. So it's like they've got deals in there, and one or two things could be really, really exciting. So
get an Astrobot 2 out there. They just really go hard with this.
I mean, we know Astrobot
another
was
Gran
made in 3
Turismo.
years.
Just
So it's been nearly 2 years.
Yeah, just get as many of your biggies that are good to go and just get them out there.
Teasers PlayStation. We don't need
Guerrilla. We haven't heard anything from Guerrilla in a while.
Well, yeah, Horizon. When was Forbidden West? 3 years ago.
Forbidden West was 2022. They had Call of the Mountain in 2023.
It wasn't made by them.
But that was Fire Sprite.
Yeah.
Horizon Adventures 2024. So we're 3 years out from Forbidden West.
So you could drop a trailer, give yourselves another 2 years in development.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
And they've talked about the multiplayer game. They've talked that about a sequel. Like,
Do it.
is this? Yeah, do it.
Do it. Now is the time, PlayStation. Do as a showcase.
Killzone 4. Go for it.
You know what? Why not? Why not? Give me sprinkling some remasters. Give me an Infamous Trilogy remaster. Give me a Resistance remaster. All things like that. Go back. Redo. Show me an Uncharted. Uncharted's been gone for 10 years too long, in my book. I'd even take a Eddie Raja spin-off Uncharted game at this point.
Yeah, I think in the style of Lost Legacy, that's where I would take Uncharted. Because I feel like Nathan Drake's retired. He can be in them, but I don't think he's the main character for that franchise going forward. If that franchise is going forward, which doesn't seem like it is, but
I think we'll be surprised. I hope we'll be surprised.
Yeah, me too.
But you mentioned Gran Turismo in there. Now, moving on to our next story, aside from Gran Turismo, there are heavy rumours that we've not really covered on the show yet because they were very much just rumours. And I always like to wait until we've got something at least formidably concrete until we really shine light on it. It is Tokyo Game Showcase. Forza Horizon 6 is apparently going to be revealed at the Tokyo Game Showcase. And a couple of weeks ago, we didn't really cover it on the show. I don't know if you even picked up on it, Richie, but there was a gentleman on Twitter who worked in the automotive scene. He shared a post that said he basically had a crew from the studio doing 3D modeling scans of cars at his workshop, and he's based in Japan. And it was one of those where it kind of got picked up by Reddit. It went a little bit further, and people were going, okay, they're clearly in Japan doing shots and scans and stuff. This could be it. And then the tweet was deleted. So it's one of them, you've brought more suspicion on it by deleting it.
Yeah.
Basically,
he's put out what he thought, he's naively put out what he thought was an innocent tweet. And they've turned around and go, you can't post something like that because what we're doing is not announced. So you can't. We need to be quiet with this sort of stuff.
It's secret. But it's kind of lining up to the point where that's got the rumours and speculation going. Forza fans have been asking for it to be in Japan for quite some time. The relationship Xbox are trying to build with the kind of Japanese market as well. We know they like a country that's got diverse biomes because it allows to have a different just visuals as you racing around. But yeah, this follows the news of that the cars being scanned into the game. It's also been covered that it adds a little bit of weight of it heading into Japan because I feel like the story all lines up. For Windows Central, just to read a quote, their sources said, "We've seen official, widely circulated documents strongly suggesting Forza Horizon 6 is actually planned to be announced during Tokyo Showcase, an annual game-focusing conference kicking off in Japan." So that's Windows Central pretty much said that's what's going to happen. We've not had a Forza Horizon since 2021, albeit we just had a push of PlayStation with the launch of Forza 5 coming to PlayStation this past couple of months, means that it's definitely got juice in the tank. It's the best-selling Xbox game, I think, on PlayStation, if I'm not mistaken.
I think so,
It's shit all over Gears of War Reloaded, if you remember when we covered that. And, yeah, I guess throw it over to you, Richie. We've got hopefully a state of play, but Xbox like to do well and play nice with Japanese studios at the moment and Japanese culture as they inevitably lose ground year on year on that that landmass. Forza 6, do we think it's going to go to Japan? The last one was in Mexico.
I feel like it could, I think it would be a good place to put it. Just imagine just driving around some roads and you got things like Mount Fuji in the background, some probably Japanese air equivalent of air roads. Racing. I think there's some stunning locations.
Mm-hmm.
Japanese, very big, and car manufacturers as well.
Yeah.
So you could have a heavy Japanese presence in terms of the vehicles. I think it just works.
They have that street racing scene as well.
Yeah, that too.
The whole drifting modding community is very much alive and well in Japan. So everyone's seen Tokyo Drift, right? The worst of the Fast and the Furious movies. Probably not so much nowadays, but it was at the time.
Yeah, but yeah, I think Japan makes absolute perfect sense for this sort of game. So yeah,
interesting. Well, hopefully, I said it happens later this week, so we'll maybe be sat here next week saying Forza Horizon 6 is real. It's coming to Japan. I'm trying to think of the turnaround. As I said, 2021. We know they've had cutbacks at the 1010 studio, but that was the studio that does the Forza Motorsport version of the game. We know the team that traditionally work on this are actually grafting away at Fable remake reboot at the moment. So their attention's maybe being split more so than it would have otherwise been. But you know what? I love the fact that we live in a world that the studio goes and makes AAA top quality racing arcade games one day and then works on a Fable action high fantasy RPG role playing game on the other side of the coin. I think it's brilliant.
I know it seems weird, but that's probably one of the things that keeps like the team invested. Like, you know what, our bread and butter is Forza Horizon, but we are going to occasionally give you other projects to work on.
Yeah, keeps ticking over nicely. What they won't have in Forza Horizon most likely though is ships. You can drive cars, but you can't drive any ships. And that moves us on to the next story of the week, which is Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag remake is apparently making some drastic changes, including dropping the modern day story elements and adding some RPG twists similar to the current trilogy of Assassin's Creed games that have came out since. The worst kept secret in games industry is definitely Black Flag remake. I think Ubisoft have teased or mentioned it at shareholder things several times now. But according to, French outlet Jeux Vidéo Magazine, Ubisoft is going as far as completely removing modern-day story sections and replacing them with more narrative for protagonist Edward Kenway. Gameplay will supposedly be more like the recent Assassin's Creed titles, including RPG elements added alongside loot drops and gear for Edward's weapons and armor. The explorable map will not be any bigger than it was in the original, but the islands you can reach on your pirate ship will reportedly contain more activities to take part in side quests and more stuff to complete. When you switch between the ship and the setting foot on land, you won't need to load in any screens either. And it's targeting an early 2026 launch, but it may slip into later in the year. This brings in the report in line with other things of it being much more than just a graphical update. And I think Ubisoft being Ubisoft at the moment, I think they know there's this like beloved cult following of Black Flag. And seemingly all the back and forth they've had with the recent trilogy and the I guess lack of success of Mirage and other big titles that they've had. I'll throw it over to you, Richie. Black Flag. What do we think of this taking stuff out? Preserving the original. It is a PS4 game, so you can play it on PS5. So it's not like it's abandoned to the annals of history.
I feel with Black Flag, that's when the modern day stuff, they really just kind of half-arsed it. It didn't really work into the main story that you're telling very well. With the AC2 trilogy, the Desmond stuff was integral to the story that you played as Ezio. With Black Flag, it's just kind of there, wasn't it? In a weird first person, you're just walking around.
It was.
It's kind of.
It doesn't add anything. It is very much an unfaced, unvoiced protagonist walking around an office in a Far Cry engine, as opposed to Assassin's Creed.
I'm one where actually for Assassin's Creed, I kind of want them to go back to like have that synergy between the modern day and the past kind of thing. Have them both work together rather than just you're being a guy who gets an Anonymous and then you play through the game and occasionally you get out an Anonymous, read an email, and go, oh, now I can get back in.
Yeah.
I feel like they can do more with that because that's one of the unique features of Assassin's Creed, and they've just kind of abandoned it. Yeah, and this is where I feel sometimes Assassin's Creed has really become a bit quite generic because the things that made them interesting to begin with, they're kind of just been scrapping. But for Black Flag, absolutely scrap it. It's boring. It serves, if you're going to leave the modern day story stuff in, it needs completely reworking to make it have sense. So I don't mind them scrapping it in this sense. In this case, I am more skeptical when Ubisoft say they want to modernize it because I don't think that's necessarily a great thing for Ubisoft to try to do because I still feel like their games are PS3 era in terms of mechanics. They haven't. The core gameplay of Assassin's Creed hasn't developed since Origins, really. They redefine what it is with Origins, and then they've just been churning that out ever since. And they've never been terrible games. But Shadows looked amazing in like the first few hours, like when the story's doing like the heavy lifting. but then the way like the story's presented kind of through just you have that like all them circles with all the things people you got to assassinate, and there's no real narrative driving you to do it apart from you need to go kill them, go find them. That's where I'm like, they can do better. So I'm skeptical. I'm hoping to be proved wrong.
Yeah, well, the story of Black Flag was really good, really intriguing. It wove the kind of the Templar and Assassin story, which I genuinely feel that the modern games have gotten away from because they've kind of gone back to Origins and then they're doing their own complete stories in these different time eras. They've almost forgot that part of the appeal of Assassin's Creed was the Assassins versus the Templars and that whole like deep religious toil over the centuries. Very much like Indiana Jones, where like it always seems better when it leans on, I guess, like Christian mythologies and is stuff real? Is it magic? Is it not? Is it faith? Is it not? And Black Flag kind of got away from all that because it leans so much into modern day with pirates. Realistically, for all intents and purpose, it was a pirate game before. And we said many times in the show, like it should have just been a spin-off franchise where it should have been called Pirates Creed, and it was like an own separate thing where they have their own rules defined by the pirates' law. And it came out at a time when Pirates of the Caribbean was still high, and yeah, no wonder. But I think a remake, because the last one was PS4 and it is forwards compatible on current hardware, I think them doing a different version of it that adds some modern sensibilities in, I think could be really interesting for it. Obviously, it's going to look gorgeous. It probably doesn't look terrible by today's standards anyway. But modernising, the gameplay feel a little bit, stripping out the modern day. I know I've seen some internet uproar as some...
Black Flag was PS3, by the way.
Yeah, it was cross-gen.
Yeah.
You got it on both.
Yeah, cross-gen.
Wii U, there's a version of it on Wii U as well, which I'm sure that's not the version they're going to use as their base model.
The wiki references Stadia.
Oh, Stadia. That's nice. But yeah, just all things said and done, I would love to go back to Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I think it's between Shadow's performance and whatever they've got cooking next. I don't really know where they go next with the main franchise. Like, is there a continent and a time era they've not visited yet that we would actually care about anymore?
I hope they address some of the story pacing issues, because one of the issues I remember having is I remember distinctly spending like an entire day like just doing some side content when I was playing Black Flag.
Mm-hmm. Leveled
up tons of stuff. Then I started the next main quest and got basically spent I think about 3-4 hours working my way through the quest, and then all of a sudden I got told my boat wasn't good enough. It was like, you couldn't have told me this at the start of the quest line, because it kind of has that thing where you have like a run of maybe like 3, 4, 5 quests before it kind of gives you a bit more, goes a bit open again.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, it was one of them annoying things where I was like, that's actually just bad gameplay design. Like you could have, like, when I started the first part of that quest string, told me that I was going to need this upgrade, because by that point I'd spent basically all my weekend upgrading the wrong stuff.
Yeah, because of course this was the first one to fully lean into naval combat. We had it a little bit in Assassin's Creed 3, but it very much was far and few between. Whereas this one fully embraced it. There's like massive ships to take down, more ocean, I think, than we've had in any game before or since to explore for combat and treasure and such. Like I said, little islands and that. I think you're right in saying the modern day stuff hasn't really been relevant since Desmond died. They tried to do a little bit more of it in 3, but yeah, the way they did it with the first person Abstergo stuff, it was totally relevant. So I think that far detached from Assassin's Creed 1, 2, 3, Brotherhood, and now, and then the modern day ones that they've done with I can't remember her name. Who's the woman in the modern day? Layla, yeah. They did which I actually didn't mind her story that much. I felt like it was building towards something, and then they just got rid of it all again.
Well, this is the thing. Like at the end of Valhalla, it's like, it looks like they're setting stuff up, and like spoilers for Valhalla, like where Bassam turns up in modern times and meets up with like the team, and they're looking for Layla or something, and they found Eivor's grave.
Yeah.
Bassam turns up, like, oh, they're doing something interesting with the modern stuff, and then that just doesn't come into play at all in Shadows.
Yeah, doesn't exist.
So it's like you're setting up a story, then just abandoning it.
Yeah, and I think there's been no cohesion where I really give a shit. Whereas the downside, which you've alluded to, is the modern day stuff should have felt a bit more like Tomb Raider. Like Layla pretty much looked and felt like Tomb Raider anyway. and yet they give her no more. I don't think she could even jump. The character
No,
model.
she has no. She has
You
no
just
abilities
walk
at
around
all.
this like random house and like random ruins, but it's like you could have just given her more story.
But then you look at Desmond's story, is like through his time in the Animus, he was acquiring Ezio's skills. So it always felt, and I think it was a bit disappointing that he never got to the point where he played like as Desmond, as a master assassin in the modern day, like breaking into Abstergo to take down one of the higher ups to reclaim the Apple of Eden or something.
Yeah.
That's why I thought the Assassin's Creed 2 trilogy was going.
Yeah,
And it just never did that.
It certainly felt like that, especially when they started talking about like Watch Dogs, R.I.P. It felt like Watch Dogs was like the modern day equivalent in terms of like the world and exploration. And I thought like with those like two engines and stuff combined and gameplay loops and mechanics, we would have like this like just amalgamation of modern day would have been like Watch Dogs-esque, like hacking and breaking into things and assassinating people, and Assassin's Creed was the older stuff. So and then it never came to be, and we've had 3 Watch Dogs games and infinite Assassin's Creed games.
But with Watch Dogs, they didn't really know what they were doing either. Like you look at Legion, it's like that's completely different to Watch Dogs 1 and 2.
Yeah, 2 was good. 2 was a good game. But it is a shame that we're at this point now where I think it's just again it's Ubisoft. I think ironically enough, their leadership, whoever's like at the wheel for the last 10 years, is seemingly steered them in a wrong direction. And yes, they've made money and they've had good games, but
they've never been great games. But that's the thing I think always frustrates me for Ubisoft is you can see how they could acquire that greatness, but they seem quite content to be good and chase trends rather than try and set them do. If you remember, Assassin's Creed 1 and 2, they were very unique original games. There was nothing else like them.
2 especially.
And that's what built the franchise. And now it just feels like they are just generic action RPGs.
Yeah,
they're great, but they're good games, but they're lacking something special, I think.
Yeah. Like, I remember playing Assassin's Creed 1 on the PS3 as like a kid, and as someone like who really enjoys history, just being like blown away by like jumping in the Animus and exploring like this ancient world and like the little religious like threads through and through and the Templar Knights, and like as a big Indiana Jones fan as well, I was like, oh, this is cool as shit. And then I get to assassinate people as well and fight with a sword and sneak up on people and like get like Hitman gameplay almost. Yeah. And I think it's got away from them a little bit. But all things said and done, Black Flag was super fun.
I'm very interesting to see what they do.
Yeah.
I'm just skeptical because of Ubisoft's track record. I mean, is anyone talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows being anywhere near Game of the Year the conversation?
No, I very much doubt it.
And will everyone be talking about Ghost of Yotei being in that conversation?
Most likely.
There you go.
There you go. But tell you what won't be in the conversation at the Game Awards, it'll probably be further from it than you can possibly imagine, and that is Xbox announcing some new price increases for the Xbox Series X and S in the United States. You heard that right. We already covered a price increase earlier on in the year. We're back again for another one. To finish off the week, Microsoft has announced that it's increasing prices across its Xbox Series slate in the US. These prices will apply to all versions of the 2 current systems currently on the market. The standard Xbox X with a disk drive is now going to jump to $649, with the original S model with a 512 gig internal drive now priced at $399 internal dollars. To give you an idea, that means the X has jumped from $599 to $649, and the Series S has jumped from $379 to $399. Obviously, there are digital and special edition ones like the 2 terabyte black version and stuff, which have also seen a price increase, but the 2 mainline ones are there. And to read 2 quotes from Microsoft in relation to this, one, and I quote, "We are navigating an incredibly dynamic environment right now. We've assessed the changing macroeconomic level and addressed its applicable impacts." They followed on to say that we understand these changes are challenging and they were made with careful consideration. Looking ahead, we continue to focus on offering more ways to play more games across any screens and provide value for Xbox players. Richie, thinking about selling your Series S for a profit 5 years later?
No, but
you could.
One of the things that was just struck me as interesting. So it was the Series X versus the Galaxy Black 2 terabyte version. Mm-hmm. So the Series X has got a 1 terabyte SSD in there. The black's got a 2 terabyte.
Yeah.
There's a current difference of $150. With a very quick Google search, you can buy Western Digital, like 2 terabyte SSD marketed for literally got an Xbox logo on the bloody thing for 80 quid. So you're better off buying the Series X and the extra SSD.
I mean, you'd have also been better buying it several months ago at the beginning of the year. It goes back to that baffling thing that, if you buy a console now, it's arguably going to make more value over the years, which has never happened before in previous generations. I don't even know where to really start with this, because we could go into, does this show signs that Xbox is so far behind in the hardware units sold that
I think
they're looking at just cutting their losses and saying, well, like, if we can sell these final units or the rest of this generation with a slightly bigger profit margin, great. Is it really just Donald Trump fucking up markets with his tariff shit back and forth?
I think it's a lot of factors. I do think the current global economic landscape is everything is getting very expensive very quickly, which that translates to everything that Microsoft are doing. All the components prices are going up. Their wage structure is probably going up as their staff are feeling the effects of inflation. So, and obviously, a company like Microsoft wants to, kind of basically has to protect the profit margins for their investors. So they can't really take too much of a hit. Otherwise, their stock price will start falling, and that would be an absolute disaster for them as a company. So it is kind of shit for everyone. Like, I don't know what else to say, really. It's like,
is it wild to think that it's a Series X is more than a PS5 Pro, though? I think this is where it becomes really jarring, is that PlayStation might just put theirs up again in another 3 months' time, and we'll be back at the same cadence. But the Pro is more powerful than the X. It's newer, it's more refined, and yet Xbox like, oh, well, we expect you to buy our top tier one, which is already selling infinitely worse than the PS5 is anyway. Now we want you to pay more for a lesser device, which is the whole point of the X was they came out singing and dancing saying it's the most powerful console in the world, and the S is there as a supplement. And I think the S has been great. I've got absolutely no issues with my S whatsoever. I've loved it.
That's great.
But if you're like looking for the best bit of tech, it just seems so odd that you can get a better for less. Like, that doesn't seem like a good card to play, because you just go for the PS5 Pro, right?
Well, on Amazon, the PS5 Pro is 679 quid, so it is slightly more expensive than the X.
In America,
but you can get the Slim for like 200 quid cheaper. And to be honest, unless you need the extra performance of the Pro, and it's basically a luxury item, you can get just good enough and save yourself quite a lot of money. It's
quite a lot.
So it's I don't know, they're pricing themselves into a difficult corner, I think.
Especially with, I know there's been a lot of conversation this past week about Game Pass going around of like, is Game Pass damaging the industry? Is it profitable for developers and stuff and studios? And that's the argument still out on that one. You do wonder, but it does make me think at this point, the way they're publishing their games and such, are Xbox just on track to just go full Sega on this thing, and they're just, from next gen, they end up just being, yes, they'll have a console maybe, but they're ultimately just a publisher?
I think they're holding out for when cloud gaming becomes the norm. I think you will continue to see Xboxers until that. And I think cloud gaming slowed down in general, so I think it is going to probably be maybe a couple of generations. But with these sort of price increases, that actually could expedite things, cloud gaming again.
Yeah.
Because if the prices of your hardware keeps going up and up and up and up, suddenly cloud gaming starts feeling like a more viable option again.
Yeah. I mean, we said it was back in 2019, but the way the economy's changed so much, it's like, well, actually, you know what? If games are going to cost £100 plus and hardware is going to cost upwards of $1,000, and how is like poor little Timmy, 12-year-old little Timmy who just wants to play the latest games, how is he going to go to mum and dad and go, yeah, you need to break the bank to get me the latest tech.
But
it ain't going to happen.
Like when you go back to Little Timmy, like Little Timmy wants an Xbox. It's $650 for the Series X, or $449.99 for the Series S. But then they've got a TV in the living room that already has Xbox Cloud Gaming on it.
Yeah.
Which gives you access to pretty much the entire library.
And if it works, again, it's we said for years it was all about like marketing cloud gaming. Like, how do you get the general public to understand that you don't need to buy a box? You've already got the tech, and that's the drum Google beat for absolutely ages, and they never quite got around to it. Richie's just trashing his house while we talk about that.
The answer is you put this in the box of the telly. Just you put a TV that has natively got Xbox Cloud Gaming on it. You put one of them in the box. So when someone buys a new telly,
holding up a controller.
So when someone buys a new telly, they immediately have a controller, and you put a code in there for 1 month Game Pass. So someone goes, "Oh, I've got a controller, I've got Game Pass. Let's give this a go."
Yeah. The other kind of like a string to this bow is the ROG Ally. Comes out in less than a month. Still doesn't have a price. Pre-orders are up now. Pre-orders are up, but it doesn't have a price.
How can you put a pre-order up without a price? I don't understand.
I think you just put your details and bank details in and stupidly wait.
I understand registering interest.
Yeah.
But I would never pre-order something without knowing the price.
It's wild, isn't it?
And I'm getting increasingly interested in a ROG Ally because I never play my Xbox, and there's some great games. I'm paying monthly for Game Pass, so it's a device I kind of want. I just don't. I don't want to pay £500 for it. When I bought my Portal for 200, it feels like it's, and that's how I would use it. But I don't know. We'll see when it comes out. I could be tempted, but I don't think I'd go for the X. I just hope the Ally isn't priced too high. But I feel like it will be, though. Yeah,
all the pages are up on the website.
It's available October the 16th. It's less than a month out, and the price has been announced.
Which is that back to our point of like the price is going up for this one? Are they just really waiting until the 11th hour to see whether they can go like 900 or 950? Like, is that like their marginal difference of thinking if we hold off, we can maybe break? No, they won't break even. Probably like make more or less of a loss. I guess maybe.
I can't see it being less than £500 considering the
not at all.
The original ROG Ally is $550.
This is going to be expensive. I think this is going to be like $799.
Yeah,
in or around.
Well, that would be for the X because there's two versions: the ROG Ally X and the ROG Ally.
Yeah, but you're going to want the better.
And the main difference is RAM and storage.
Yeah, RAM you.
Yeah, but yeah, it's one I really do want to know the price because I kind of do want to. I want a way of playing Xbox portably without having to mess on with a third-party device.
Yeah, interesting. But price rises suck. It's more expensive to game, but that's why there's a rise in retro games as well, because you can go pick up secondhand stuff a lot cheaper, and it's arguably like you could go get a PS4 now, play all the aforementioned games like God of War Ragnarok, Spider-Man 2.
That'd be my recommendation. If someone came to me and went, I haven't gamed in about 10 years.
What should I do?
10, 15 years. Where should I start? I go, buy yourself a secondhand PS4. You'll have a huge catalogue of games at your disposal. Most of your friends will probably have them anyway, so you could probably just borrow them for free.
Yep.
You're going to be good for a long time, unless you need to play day and day.
Again, if you're not just like looking over my shoulder now, you've got on my shelf, if you used to pick a PS4 up and you've not gamed for 10, 15 years, go pick up The Witcher, Red Dead Redemption, the Batman Arkham series, the Death Stranding games if you want to, all of the PlayStation First Party
Spider-Man, God of War.
All the Assassin's Creed. And then any games you did love from yesteryear, they've probably got remastered. You enjoyed Mass Effect back in the day? The remastered version's out. You enjoyed Assassin's Creed back in the day? The Ezio collection's out now. Like, you're absolutely eating great if you've just had patience and you didn't want to play the latest and greatest.
Horizon, Ghost of Tsushima, the list is endless.
Really, really is. But yeah, you could play them, and you could also play Cyberpunk, because I think that PS4 version eventually got out the door. But the reason I bring that up is our next story of the week ties in with Cyberpunk, as the Cyberpunk 2 wheels are spinning. We know the next project for CD Projekt Red is The Witcher 4, but they've also got, I think, about 5 projects in the works in their ever-expanding studio. And after the epic failed launch of Cyberpunk 2077, it did end up actually being really well received. You finished it, Richie?
I did.
One of your favourite games, would you say, of the last 10 years? It's up there?
No, I think over time it's kind of fallen down. I enjoyed what I played with it, but once I kind of finished my story, I kind of just moved on. There again, I was playing it on Stadia, which was a great place to play it, but the trophy situation in Stadia was terrible, so I didn't have that hook to keep me playing beyond like rolling credits. I have rebought it on PlayStation, but never played it.
Same. It's sat on my shelf looking at me, thinking, wait till you get a gap in your window. But the reason we bring it up is CD Projekt looks set to include multiplayer features in Cyberpunk 2, years after similar plans were scrapped for the original. A role up on the job board for CD Projekt Red says they're looking for a lead network engineer whose responsibilities include the need to develop and optimize multiplayer systems, including matchmaking, with an aim to address challenges related to latency, bandwidth usage, and server problems. Applicants will also need to work closely with game designers, gameplay programmers, and other departments to integrate network features seamlessly. The job description continues to say you will play a pivotal role in designing and implementing the network architecture and online systems. As expected, this role is predominantly in CD Projekt's Boston studio, where Cyberpunk 2 is now underway, while the Polish team continues work on The Witcher 4. And although it's yet to confirm online features for CD Projekt 2, the developer did say they spent years experimenting with the possibility for the original game before they decided to call it a day. Richie, what would you expect a multiplayer Cyberpunk to look like in a sequel? Because it's in my head, it's very similar to a Grand Theft Auto, where the world is so rich with stuff to do. It could just be like here's Night City, just go explore, go have fun, do random games of this and that, do random racing missions, random side quests, and I guess create your own character in that world.
Yeah, I think that's probably the easiest way to go, is basically do a Grand Theft Auto Online kind of clone. My preference would them to just not bother with this at all and just focus on getting the best single player experience you possibly can. But they seemingly want to put online features into all their games, which is just like I don't know. I'm just not optimistic about this at all. It's a mode that I just don't think I would touch if I bought Cyberpunk 2. Because I'm not playing a game like Cyberpunk for its online feature. A lot of people do, but I certainly wouldn't be.
I think CD Projekt probably look at it from a Rockstar standpoint of go like, if the game clearly has popularity, like Cyberpunk, unbeknownst to everyone, it rode the wave of Witcher success into creating a brand new spin-off IP that also had wild success. Even after its poor performance at launch, it still sold insanely well, and they somehow managed to turn the ship around. The public perception of CD Projekt, it wasn't as tarnished as it maybe would have been if they were a Ubisoft or an EA. And they're back in goodwill.
They made one misstep with the game, and they've put the effort in to recover from it.
Huge misstep though. This game was unplayable on PS4.
It was,
Xbox. But to come back around to this, they must look at this and thinking, well, if we can get a Cyberpunk out that has a GTA Online-esque input, that means from a business standpoint, they're making money. Kind of like Grand Theft Auto Online funds Rockstar.
I get the business side of it, but I worry they're making the same mistake again, where they're trying to set the bar too high. Because that's, I think, one of the biggest problems they did with Cyberpunk was even performance issues on things like PS4 aside, they set the bar so high for themselves that they were never realistically going to achieve it. And I don't think they got anywhere near where the expectation for that game was. They had a competent game and ended up being a very good game.
Yeah.
but I feel like they're trying to put too much stuff in, and I feel like especially with them now having multiple games on the go, focus on the core experience first and work on the multiplayer as a side project, and then you could bring out later, or as a standalone game.
I think I could
I think,
certainly see it being standalone. I think their
yeah,
focus will have to be on the story to get that right, because they can't have another botched launch.
Yeah.
And then see if
But imagine trying a game the size of Cyberpunk, which Cyberpunk 2 is probably going to be bigger, more complex, more systems, a lot more stuff, just generally more stuff going on.
Mm-hmm.
And then you're going to try and add multiplayer. But is it going to be a separate mode, or is it going to be seamless drop in, drop out, kind of like a co-op thing?
Mm-hmm.
It feels like, why don't you just make Cyberpunk 2, then make a Cyberpunk Online as a separate thing?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's going to be years and years out at this point. Yeah. It might even be closer to 2077 than it was 2020 when it launched. The first one? 2020, yeah. 21? Can't remember now. But yeah, crazy stuff. I tell you what we will see that won't need any development because it's out now and it works perfectly fine is Lego Voyagers. I mentioned to it as part of what I've been playing at the moment, but yeah, I've played I say a few hours. I've played about an hour and a half with my wife, and it's great, Richie. It's the new little game published by Annapurna. It's not your traditional Lego game. You essentially play as two little blocks. That's it. A red block and a blue block. And you work your way through a beautiful, whimsical Lego world. It has that nice polish and sheen. It's a two-player co-op adventure. It has a game friend pass. So you can, if you own a copy of the game, you can play it alongside someone who doesn't own a copy of the game, similar to like Split Fiction or something. The game, I believe, I'm not finished it yet, but I believe is only about 3.5 hours long. It's not difficult. It is very much just like a whimsical kids game, I would say. But if you're looking for something with maybe a partner who doesn't game, if you're looking for something to play with your children, or something just to chill out. The music's very zen. The gameplay is very simplistic. But there's a couple of key things. There's very few button prompts. It's basically X to jump, square to sing, and circle to connect to items in the world and interact with them. There's loads of like daft little fun things, like you can just sit on the swings to get a trophy. You can spin each other around on like a roundabout carousel. You can interact with little objects. I think at one point I needed to get over a little canyon, and you had to like shake the fruit off a tree and then connect yourself to the fruit to turn yourself into a big long stick to then be able to bridge a gap over a void. But yeah, it's just really whimsical. I played a little bit with my daughter as well. Didn't really know what she was doing, but she could move the bricks around, and she thought the noises they make was hilarious. And every time she fell in the water, she thought that was hilarious as well. So it is very much just a family-friendly game. Reading from some reviews, we've got Jill Shockers gave it a 95. They said, Lego Voyages is quite easily my favourite Lego game ever. It's a super short but endlessly sweet co-op journey that will tug at your heartstrings by the end and stick with you long after the credits roll. It's a story about growing up that resonates with me deeply, and I really must urge you to check it out with whichever type of co-op buddy you please. The barrier to entry is low and perfect playing with a partner, sibling, friend, kiddo, or even a parent. I wish it was slightly longer, so I had some more time to flesh out some ideas, but that's what's truly special, more than worthwhile, and never waste a second of your time. And I got that from IGN's review, Ryan McCaffrey. He said his biggest disappointment of the whole game was it wasn't long enough. He said he got to the end and he just wanted to play more. Euro gave it an 8 out of 10. They said, as a short, sweet puzzle adventure, Lego Voyagers handles itself with an air of grace, but no snootiness. A game so lovely it's hard not to feel sad when it's all over. Look deeper though, or simply from the privilege of age, it'll leave you more lasting impression on those of us that know what proper friendship feels like. Sometimes a little hello is all you need. So I'm interested. I feel like this is going to have almost like there's like a deeper meaning to what goes on, even though it's a simplistic. Well, the game basically starts as it's you two bricks. They roll on over to like a little apartment building they have on the top of a little island made of Lego, and they watch like a rocket ship take off in the distance, and the rocket ship, as it flies overhead, seemingly like breaks up and collapses, and all the bits scatter around, and then you go on a mission seemingly to find the pieces and fix the rocket ship. Maybe, I'm not too sure, but nobody talks. It's just whimsical, like it's all like little tones,
beeps and boops,
like shout to is it the clangers that our parents will have watched, or it was just the two mice that just they went they didn't do anything. It's like that.
It's like a Nintendo game.
Essentially, yeah, definitely. But yeah, like I said, the Zen music, the chill. I feel like there is going to be like a deeper, maybe like the music is maybe going to be able to pull on like some emotional strings as it gets into it. Don't know what it's like, but it sounds there. It's about like friendship and connection and stuff. So maybe, yeah, if you've lost someone or you read too much in it, it might be like that. But great reviews. I'm enjoying it. As I said, you could probably pick it up for I think about 15 quid. And seemingly it's an easy platinum as well, Richie. Just going to throw that out there for you and your girlfriend. The missions are basically like ride the swing in this area, jump on every plant, every reed plant in the water. So there's nothing complex. And like I said, even my daughter was like moving around and freely. So it's very simplistic, very few buttons. But yeah, any thoughts on Lego Horizon, Lego Voyagers? It's doing very well review wise.
I'm looking for it now on the PlayStation app on my phone because I am very tempted to buy it.
I think 3 hours. I reckon I'll have the platinum by the time the show goes live because I want to play some tonight.
Yeah. It's currently $17.99 on PlayStation. Might convince my girlfriend to buy it.
Like I said, 10% with PlayStation Plus, and check your PlayStation stars as well, because I had £5 sat, which I didn't realise, which I'm guessing I accrued from getting trophies. So I had like random points here and there.
I think I cashed in all the points I could, and I think I might have a £5 on my account. I can't remember though.
Oh, well,
I'd have to check.
Something there.
Yeah.
So yeah, Lego Voyagers, really good. It's nice to see them do something a little bit different. And if this was like an indie game that wasn't Lego,
yeah,
it feels like it's got that vibe. It's raw, it's simplistic, and it's fun.
The fact it's getting some like 90s in the reviews is better than I expected, because I kind of was looking at this going, this is going to be like Split Fiction Light with a Lego twist. I also thought, you know what, it's going to, as long as it's competent, it's clearly not a game that's going to push the boundaries of of a genre.
Yeah.
But as long as it's competent, it's got some charm, I'll be interested, and it seems like it's done that. So
yeah, absolutely. Moving on, because we've got a couple of reviews there that dropped this week. Silent Hill F is imminently due to launch, and seemingly they're confident because we've got a few reviews trickling out. The Japanese publishing arm Famitsu was the first ones to get hands on with it. And usually when they go to Famitsu, it's like a premiere thing. It's like going to Q Magazine or something, PlayStation do like their exclusive interviews with Variety, and you're like, well, that's got nothing to do with video games, but because of the premium journalistic tier that they hold themselves to as they get these exclusives. Famitsu, the Japanese outlet, gave it a 36 out of 40, which is the most random reviewing scale ever, but I understand the reason. I think they break each 10 block down into like categories. The rating is
a 9 out of 10.
Yeah, they do it across multiple things. The rating is a result of 4 9 out of 10 scores, which culminates in the highest rating the magazine has ever awarded a Silent Hill game. It gave the original PS1 and the PS2 a 34 out of 40, while last year's Silent Hill 2 remake got 35. So Silent Hill F seemingly ready to smash it out the park. The text mentions visual beauty and surprisingly exhilarating combat, as well as an average play time of roughly 12 to 13 hours. On the other hand, the review speaks of confusing controls and getting caught in the terrain quite a lot. It releases on the 25th of September, but you can get early access with the deluxe edition. And there's no more reviews out for it yet, so we might be back to talk about this one in the future.
There is some reviews in progress. I know IGN have got a write-up on Metacritic, but they haven't scored it. Same as GameSpot have got a few sentences.
But I think it's a good time for horror. Between this and Hell Is Us and Chronos: The New Dawn and Resident Evil in February, I think we've hit I know we've had kind of like a renaissance of horror in recent years, but yeah, if you're into that genre, great. And Silent Hill,
I'm going to
seemingly
read
coming
one
back.
Sentence from the IGN review where, just to kind of, I think sums it well. It's just, so far, Silent Hill F seems to be a horror game that gets everything right. So they seem to be leaning in close to what Famitsu was saying.
Right.
So, yeah, Polygon, another surprisingly good modern Silent Hill game on their hands. Games, but after spending around 5.5 hours with Silent Hill F, I'm convinced that the series is not just back, it's at its strongest.
Wow.
So while these publishers haven't scored it yet, I feel you can extrapolate this is going to be high 8s, 9s.
Yeah, unless something drastically changes throughout the rest of the game.
Yeah.
How's it going to go? Never played a Silent Hill game, me, again.
Neither.
Never really dabbled in, like, I knew of Resident Evil, and I'd seen the movies and stuff, and obviously now I've played multiple games in the series, but yeah, Silent Hill, like, I think I'd played maybe a demo of it at some point. I got a demo included with a game, and I remember the Pyramid Head guy probably scaring the shit out of me. But yeah, it's interesting. I think we both praised it for going all out Japanese. I think Japanese horror is one of those like very unique, creepy things that it's so well revered in the movie scene. But game wise, they've maybe not delved into it too much. The one thing that did get me, and I know it said in the Famitsu review there about like getting caught on the train, is the combat for me always looked clunky. Ironically enough, the combat did look a bit like the main protagonist was a bit stuck in like a PlayStation 1 era blocky navigation.
I feel that might be. Well, I feel like it being a bit the combat being not as smooth as you like might actually lean into the horror of it, because you should feel it's a game where it looks like you should feel vulnerable. You shouldn't feel overpowered. Yeah. Like you're playing as a teenage girl in Japan, you shouldn't be like a massively overpowered super soldier. You should be like, oh, this is an awkward situation to be in.
Yeah.
I feel like that sometimes the game mechanics should be leaning into that to make you as a player feel uncomfortable, feel like in them situations. So
we shall see. But there'll be more of this out, no doubt, this time next week. So, but again, I'm more than happy for good games to come out, even though I maybe won't play them. It's great to see them doing well. And surprisingly enough, another game that's doing really well that also came out this week was Sonic Racing CrossWorlds. That's right, the Blue Blair Sonic the Hedgehog is back, seemingly with the Sonic renaissance that the movies have driven. But Sonic CrossWorlds coming out with an 83, which puts it right up there with Mario Kart World. I actually saw before more of the reviews started coming out, at one point it was higher rated than Mario Kart World, which would have been the ultimate irony. Yeah. Reading from a few of the reviews that'll give you an idea. Sat with an 83. We'll pick one from IGN. Give it a 9 out of 10. Said Sonic Racing CrossWorlds fires on all cylinders with a fantastic roster of 24 of my favourite hedgehogs, foxes, and echidnas, and more. The lineup of 24 main tracks, 15 CrossWorld tracks is the best design selection we've ever gotten in a Sonic racing game, and there is a generationally great soundtrack to accompany them. The racing itself feels fast and fantastic and intuitive, with lots of options to tweak your stats and to your preferred playstyle. There are plenty of mods that entertain with friends for hours, and CrossWorlds will probably be a regular staple of hangouts, or more courses and characters will be added over the coming months. Though I do wish it had the option for a split screen while playing online. The CrossWorld mechanic is an awesome idea that keeps each race fresh and great way to potentially turn the tables on opponents thanks to its lengthy list of customizable options. While I'm still speeding my way to complete all the challenges, CrossWorlds is one that I know I'll enjoy playing plenty more of the months to come. Crossing the finish line is my new favourite kart racer of all time.
Nice. That's big praise right there.
That's huge praise right there. Let's dig out one more as well. From Game Informer, they give it an 8.5. Sonic CrossWorlds offers some exciting twists of a tried and true kart racing formula, making for a streamlined experience that wastes no time getting you into the action. Though there's substantially less content and replayability than its primary contemporary, Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is concise and effective in its mission, offering the most well-rounded kart racer of the year. Bear in mind, Mario Kart did come out this year. Are people preferring Sonic over Mario Kart here, Richie? It seems like there might be.
I think there might be, but from when Mario Kart came out, the biggest focus was seemed to be on like new game modes that just I didn't think made sense. Like the open world stuff, driving between races. It just felt as
empty.
Empty. Not in line with what you want from a kart race. A kart racer, you want to be fast and frenetic, and you want to just get in and get out.
Yeah.
Like, do you want I know things like Diddy Kong Racing had not a kind of open world, and there was stuff to do in there, but that was much smaller and enclosed than Mario Kart World. So I feel like this time around, Mario Kart have focused on the wrong stuff, where Sonic Racing CrossWorlds is focused on the right stuff.
Yeah, I mean,
just giving you an awesome cast of characters, having the racing feel really, really good, smooth, fast paced, lots of cool tracks to go on. Done. That's what and a banging soundtrack to go with it.
Yeah, I mean, the CrossWorlds nature, what they're alluding to there is, for those who don't know, that means it's got characters from other Sega IP. So you've got the likes of Joker from Persona in there. You've got the guy from Yakuza in there and a couple of others. So I think there's room definitely for expansion. I think, as random as it is, the Sonic game could have almost be like the Smash Bros. Equivalent for people who aren't Nintendo franchises. You just go through one of those little Sonic loops. There's a Minecraft level, which again, imagine that's a non-Sega IP coming soon. So it's basically like a Minecraft, ironically a kart racer in a Minecraft game, which makes perfect sense because you have mine karts in that, and they've got season passes, and they said there's like 5 or 6 characters to come. So there's more teas. I think SpongeBob's one of the ones further down the line. So they're leaning into it heavily. So the fact that at its core foundation, it seems fun, and then they're going to get more cool characters over time, bodes really well. But yeah, when I do think back about my time with Mario Kart World, I haven't really thought about it since. But at the same time, in hindsight, I think if you took the Mario brand off it and stuck any other IP on there, it probably wouldn't be reviewed. I do think like the Nintendo shininess helped Mario Kart World a lot. It was a launch game. People were excited about the Switch 2. It's Mario.
Everyone's been waiting for a new Mario game because Mario Kart.
Decade.
Well, yeah, Mario. The previous Mario Kart was a Wii U game.
Yeah,
that was ported to Switch. Yeah.
So I do feel like it got a lot of goodwill for that, and I think maybe the veil's been lifted. It's like, you know what, this Sonic game, pretty damn good. Yeah. Pac-Man's coming to it as well. So there's loads of characters in there where I think you'll jump in going, oh, it's a Sonic game. If I'm not playing as Sonic, Tails, or Knuckles, will I care? No one wants to play as... Is it Biggs the cat? No one wants to play as that guy. But then if Pac-Man's
again, people
there,
do.
Oh, I know
people
they will.
Do enjoy it, yeah.
But yeah, if I get to play as SpongeBob or Pac-Man in a special little Pac car, who knows? Who knows?
The one thing I don't like about Sonic Racing CrossWorld is it just... I know it's been done loads of times, but Sonic driving a car does not make sense.
No, just get out and run, dude.
Yeah, he would win every race just by running.
Maybe that's why he stays in the car, in the fairness of
what they
competitive...
need at the start of the game is a cutscene where he breaks his leg.
Yeah.
So he has to drive.
Yeah. Too busy trying to eat a chili dog while going like 200 miles an hour. I agree. Moving on though to our last review of the week. This is Dying Like the Beast. Was slightly delayed, if you remember, they pushed the delay back to get out of the way of something else, if I recall. September the 18th. So it came out just at the back end of last week, sitting with a 78 on Metacritic. So once again, great week all round for video game releases, reviews, all coming out quite. If you think about those 4 games we just mentioned, and then we also got, like I said, Hell is Ours last week. We got Chronos: The New Dawn, like new IP, new franchises, all with really high reviews. And then we've got in the mix with that Ghost of Yotei as well, and all the other things that are due to come out between now and Christmas. It's kind of wild that I feel like the year felt quite quiet, and then it's stacked up as always. Let's look at this. Games Radar give it a 9 out of 10. They said Dying Light the Beast is a staggering achievement, recapturing the series' spirit and elevating it tenfold. The result is a game that, while occupying a much tighter space, manages to feel more alive than Harran or Villador combined. Don't know what they're referencing. Techland isn't reinventing the wheel here, but by revitalizing its own playbook, the Beast is Dying Light in its prime. Wow, that's a good one.
It's interesting to note that the users are rating it higher than the critics as well.
That is quite rare.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can get another one further down. GameSpot. They said they give an 8 out of 10. They said Dying Light has always been a series that does few things very well, but would get distracted by trying to be a lot more of the same time. Finally, The Beast leans into Dying Light's best parts, giving you a scarier, tougher, more immersive world to explore than anything the series has done before. I'll give another one then, because that one was a bit off. Game Rant given 8 out of 10. They said, in the end, Dying Light the Beast proves that Techland still knows how to craft a memorable zombie apocalypse with visceral parkour and survival skills to boot. Its linear revenge story is taken to greater heights by side quests that bring out Crane's humanity. Its open world is breathtaking despite some repetitive activities, and Beast Mode adds a ferocity that keeps combat feeling fresh and intense. With stable performance and plenty of memorable moments, it may not reinvent the franchise, but it'll stand out as one of the most polished and engaging Dying Light games yet. So there you
bad.
go. Never played a Dying Light game.
Me either. This is what I was thinking.
I'd enjoy it. I've seen it on sale multiple times, but it's just like I feel like I've not been in the mood for zombies for a while now. I blame the Walking Dead. I blame the Walking Dead and its 40 seasons of repetitiveness.
The thing I'm getting with a lot of the reviews is all of them are really leaning into comparing them to previous games. And as someone who's not played the previous games, it's hard to really use that as a touchstone.
Yeah, I mean, this was DLC that eventually became its own thing, which in some regards, I would much prefer when games were like that. Just you don't need to go through the 60, 70 hours of the main game. You can just, if you played the main game, it's here for you. If you haven't, it's still here for you, and it's at a lesser price, and it's seemingly like a more compact experience.
Yeah. What I've said before, one of my issues with DLC is sometimes if you get a game day and date, sometimes it's 6 months, a year before the DLC comes out. And by that point, I've just moved on from that game. Yeah. So it's just my interest in the DLC is just negligible. Or you could do something like Tales of Arise, where I think the DLC came out 2 years after the main game. It's like, but who's still playing at that point? It's like, and then to go back and play the DLC is like, you can't remember the buttons. You haven't got that muscle memory anymore.
Yeah.
So I think it is in that sort of case, if the DLC is going to be bigger in scope and significantly later than the main game, you're better off making it its own thing.
Yeah. It does look really fun, to be fair. It looks like it's got great parkour, very Far Cry in a way, just from like the movement with the weapons and the little bit of the traversal. It actually doesn't look too dissimilar to how Borderlands 4 is getting lots of praise for its kind of like grapple traversal and its quick frenetic gameplay right now. But nice to see. I do think Techland probably in the best interest to move on from this franchise for a while now, though. I think if they did a Dying Light 3 next, would be a bit like, all right, you're putting your eggs way too much in one basket now, whereas it's done well. But I think they're starting to see diminishing returns on the IP, where I don't know if like just people had their fun with it, because the original game sold so well. It was one of the first games that came out in the quiet time of like March. And remember before, like now everyone just comes out whenever, it doesn't really matter. But like back when the video games all kind of bookended the summer onwards into Christmas, whereas that was one of the first big games that I recall coming out in March and everyone flipping out because no one was playing anything else. It was the only real big launch and it just took the world by storm. The sequel, not so much. And then now this is coming out. It's like, okay, maybe you should do something a bit different. Keep it fresh. Keep it updated.
Well, I think the other big franchises worked on is things like Dead Island.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's probably time for you to maybe change up the genre.
Yeah, absolutely.
Test yourself with something different.
Absolutely. And then the last story of the week, just a nice little quick one here. We know loads of Xbox games are coming over to PlayStation. We've known this for some time. Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024 is rumored to be developed and coming over to the PlayStation system by the end of the year. This is supposedly worked on by Asobo Studios. There's a Polish website that announced that it's imminent. There's been a couple of leaks come through. It also said that there's going to be physical copies, although Microsoft haven't said anything yet. Most likely, given the title's reliance on big updates and data packs, they might just opt for one of those like in-game disc keys. But yeah, no, any surprise, Richie? It's a massive Microsoft IP. It does sell really, really well, no matter how many iterations they make of it.
No surprise at all. I feel like it's one of them games where if you're into Flight Simulator, you're into Flight Simulator. So I feel like it's actually probably bigger in the PC space than the console space.
Yeah,
actually,
I would
Flight
agree.
Sim.
I think a lot of simulator games are.
Yeah, so it's like I don't think it hurts Microsoft by putting it on PlayStation. Mm-hmm. It probably benefits them because they'll get a lot more sales. Yeah. Bear in mind, Flight Sim it's day and date Game Pass, so chances are, I dare say, a good proportion of people who play Flight Sim regularly are Game Pass subscribers.
Mm-hmm.
So you put on PlayStation, you sell some box copies,
make some money. Absolutely,
make some money.
And I guess it's just another tick on Microsoft's journey to becoming a publisher. More than anything, it's like, well, we own the IP, it's ours, it sells well. Why not? Tick, done. Enjoy PlayStation.
This could be,
fans.
You know what? This could be a state of play announcement.
It might be just a nice little quick throw it in there. It's coming. It's a known IP. First time on PlayStation in its history. Go have fun. But that does bring us to an end of this week's show. Thank you very much for everyone who's watching. And as always, we like to end each episode with looking back at this day in video game history. We're recording on September the 21st, Sunday, so it's a little bit later than everyone because we had busy weekends and plans, hence Richie's hangover. And Richie, this day in video games, what's ticking your box?
I think the first one that jumps out at me is 31 years ago in the arcades in Japan, Tekken. Start of a franchise.
The Tekken, yeah. Could really imagine playing it in an arcade now.
No, but I suppose a lot of 2D fighting games like that all have their root in arcades.
Absolutely. One for me then, I'll jump ahead a day. September 22nd is Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. So in 1999, that released in Japan on the original PlayStation, which is always a good shout.
Yeah, one for Rob, Rome Total War.
Rome Total War. When did that come out?
21 years ago.
21 years. Where have we got? Dark Souls, the original Dark Souls, came out on PS3 14 years ago in Japan, 2011. So that's, I guess, the start of the whole Dark Souls, Demon Souls, painful genre. So 14 years ago today, everyone decided to die multiple times, over and over again. And any more for you?
Not really. I think it's quite quiet.
I will say 32 years ago in 93, Sonic CD came out. And I distinctly remember Sonic CD because I rented it from a Blockbuster. And I remember playing it for the first time and...
Realise you need the CD drive. I can't play it.
I can't remember what... I don't know what I rented it on, but I remember just being really confused by the gameplay not being what I was expecting from a Sonic game. So at that point, we'd only ever really known 2D Sonic in left to right scroller action. And then I think playing this one, I remember just being as a kid, obviously bear in mind at this time, analog sticks weren't a thing. So navigating in a 3D space is kind of wild and different.
You know what? The N64 controller gets a lot of shit for its design, which fair play to it, but Nintendo with that controller were pretty much the first to realise that as we're moving into a 3D space, the D-pad wasn't going to be sufficient, so they put an analog stick in there. It is probably the worst analog stick that's ever been put on a controller ever.
Yeah.
But it was necessary.
Necessary to get that shit done. But yeah, I think the perspective of when it went into the 3D world, something that confused me. If I'm getting the right game, I'm sure it was Sonic 3 or Sonic CD. Either way, though, that's it for this week's show. Thank you very much to everyone who's tuned in and watched. Again, shout out to our Guild heroes, the wonderful members who support the channel an extra little bit more, just like you can by clicking join below in the YouTube link. Follow us on all social media at GamerGuildTV, and you'll find us this week doing a live stream of some sort. My name's been Chris.
I've been Richie.
We've been GamerGuildTV. Thank you very much for watching, everyone. And as always, play whatever makes you the happiest. See you next time. Goodbye.
Bye.